Hello, friends. Welcome back again on the Consistency in Silence YouTube channel. And today we are going to start our next chapter, Salient Features of Indian Constitution. So, in the previous classes, we have seen the historical background of our Indian Constitution, the making of our Indian Constitution, in which I have told you the whole chronology of events that are leading up to the enactment of our constitution. And now today, what all things does our Indian constitution constitutes, तो वही चीज़ आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं इन द salient features of Indian constitution. So without any further ado, let's start our session. So the first thing is, it is the lengthiest constitution. And we all know why it is lengthiest. अच्छा, कितना lengthiest है? It has around 400 plus articles, 12 schedules. So this was the extent, and approximately 25 parts. But the question arises, why our constitution is so lengthy? So there are many number of reasons as to why our constitution is so lengthy. The first one being the historical reason. In the historical reason, we can write that the half or 70% of the constitution constitute of Government of India Act of 1935, and this particular Act of 1935 was itself a bulkiest one. So in historical reasons, we can write, as most of the constitution is taken from, or constitutional provisions are taken from the Government of India Act of 1935, which itself is very bulky. Hence our constitution is also very bulky. In the previous class, I have told you the enactment date of our constitution, the 26th November 1949. So when the time our constitution has been enacted, two particular laws has been repealed. Which are those laws? The first is Government of India Act of 1935, and second is Indian Independence Act of 1947. So these two laws were repealed at that period of time. But a particular act, Privy Purchase Legislation Act, this was intact. ठीक है, तो in the prelims question, this can be a statement that all the acts or all the British time era acts has been repealed with the enactment of our constitution. So it is correct or not? No, it is incorrect statement. तो ये छोटी सी चीज़ें ध्यान रखना. The first one being the lengthiest constitution. The second is the sources. From various known constitution of the world at that period of time, we have ransacked all the prominent features. जो भी जहाँ से अच्छा लगा वो हमने उठा लिया. सो ये हमको पूरी चीज़ याद रखनी पड़ेगी कि हमने कहाँ से क्या उठाया है. सबसे पहले मैं सारे नहीं बताऊँगा. लक्ष्मीकांत में इलेबोरेट टेबल हैज़ बीन गिवन, प्लीज़ टेक अ लुक एट इट. और लुक ही नहीं, वी हैव टू रिमेंबर ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स बिकॉज दीज आर फ्री मार्क्स. अगर ये प्रीलिम्स में आ गए तो ये फ्री मार्क्स हैं. तो यूके से बेसिकली हमारी पार्लियामेंट फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, देन सिंगल सिटीजनशिप. ये सिंगल सिटीजनशिप है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं है, ठीक है. पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, सिंगल सिटीजनशिप, बाइकैमरलिज्म, रिट्स वी हैव टेकन फ्रॉम देयर, एंड एक्सेट्रा. देन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट यूएसए. सो रिमूवल of president, then independence of our judiciary, then preamble, fundamental rights. All these things have been taken from the American Constitution. Then Ireland, the directive principle of state policy, which lies in part 4 of our constitution. These are non-justiciable, and further we will dwell into this in our later lecture. And the election of president. Mind you, my handwriting is not this bad, but on board it is of a different style. ठीक है, तो अगला लिखते हैं. इसके बाद हमारे पास आ जाएगा जर्मनी. जर्मनी से हम क्या ही ले सकते हैं, हाँ भाई वहाँ फंडामेंटल राइट्स की थोड़ी कमी है, तो सस्पेंशन ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट्स ड्यूरिंग इमरजेंसी पीरियड। सबसे मेन तो हमने छोड़ ही दिया, इन द फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935। तो यहाँ से हमने क्या क्या लिया है, फेडरल स्कीम, थ्री लिस्ट हमने कहाँ से ली है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935, हमने उस टाइम भी प्रोविजंस पढ़े थे। ऑफिस ऑफ गवर्नर, emergency provisions. So emergency provisions we have taken from Government of India Act of 1935, but suspension of fundamental rights at the time of emergency we have ransacked from the Germany or Weimar Constitution. इसको वीमर ही बोलते हैं, WEIMER, वीमर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। जापान से in Article 21 there is a term written, phrase written, procedure established by law. So that has been taken from Japan, procedure established by law. In Article 21 of the Constitution, this particular phrase has been written, but the Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21 in such a way that it has inserted another phrase, that is due process of law. So due process of law, this particular phrase is applicable on the American soil. बट हमने वो वहाँ से ले लिया है, कौन से केस में, मेनका गांधी केस ऑफ 1978, एंड वी हैव पुट ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ लॉ इनटू द इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 21. सो इफ इन प्रीलिम्स 2023 statement has been given that our constitution provides for due process of law, so it is incorrect statement. Why? Because Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21 in such a way that it assumes that Article 21 imbibes due process of law also. Understood? So there is a difference between the wordings that UPSC play with us. If it is written in the Constitution, it is written due process of law. No, it is not written. Supreme Court has interpreted it in the Menka Gandhi case of 1978. So जापान हो गया, जर्मनी हो गया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया से, फ्रॉम ऑस्ट्रेलिया we have taken concurrent list. We have three lists na in schedule 7, so this is concurrent list and joint sitting of houses. Then from South Africa we have taken amendment with 2/3 majority. So these are all the things, all the sources from which our constitution has been ransacked. एक दो कंट्री बच गई होंगी, so please look it up into the Lakshmikant book. The next point is blend of rigidity and flexibility. See, we have not copied but ransacked some of the provisions from USA as well as UK, the Britain. So in the Britain there is parliamentary sovereignty. Understood? Parliament can do whatever it feels like on the UK soils. So absolute supremacy is of Parliament. That's why UK oozes the parliamentary sovereignty feature. On the other hand, we have USA where judicial supremacy is oozing out. It means from the three pillars of government, most of the power has been accumulated in the hands of judiciary. Understood? So दिक्कत क्या हुई in the American Constitution, as American Constitution is a federal one, so there is rigidity in the amendment of the USA Constitution. So हम बोले नहीं सकते थे because every amendment requires special majority. What is special majority? 2/3 present and voting plus more than 50% of total membership of the House. This is known as special majority. So in the USA Constitution, if we want to amend it, we have to obtain the special majority provisions. But on the other side of the coin, we have the UK's constitution. Now UK constitution is unwritten. It means parliament is sovereign. That's why parliamentary sovereignty. Now the amendment to the UK's constitution is very easy. So it is very flexible. So we have to find the middle path, the Buddha's middle path between these two constitutions. So we have adopted such a provision that we have blended the rigidity and the flexibility provisions. So for some part of the amendment of the some part of the constitution, what we require special majority, mostly those articles pertaining to center state relationship, हम वो भी पढ़ेंगे कब कब. And the other provisions can be amended by the simple majority. So these are the difference. Now अगर मैं आपको थोड़ा सा और बता दूं, Article 368 in our Indian Constitution, this particular article gave Constitution power of amendment. But there are only two kinds of amendment written in Article 368. Please अच्छे से नोट कर लेना. The first one is special plus तो क्या है, बस स्पेशल मेजोरिटी बोलते हैं इसको, एंड स्पेशल प्लस स्टेट्स. व्हाट इज द स्पेशल मेजोरिटी? टू थर्ड, मोर देन 2/3 प्रेजेंट एंड वोटिंग प्लस मोर देन 50% ऑफ टोटल मेंबरशिप ऑफ द हाउस. एंड स्पेशल वी हैव रिटन स्पेशल प्लस स्टेट्स, सो मोर देन 50% of the states has to ratify this amendment in their particular legislatures, state legislatures. So these two kind of majorities are given in Article 368. Now what is the trap here? In the prelims 2023 there is a statement that Article 368 imbibes in itself the special majority, the absolute majority as well as the simple majority. So we have seen that this is called absolute, more than 50% of total membership of the house. This is absolute. This is special. But I have not written anywhere what the simple majority. So simple majority, Article 368 is not giving power to amend the constitution by simple majority. Simple majority is only 50%, more than 50% present and voting. So this is the simple majority of the house. So this has not been written in Article 368. तो अगर प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा ये, so beware of this trap. This is blend of rigidity and flexibility. This particular provision has been taken from Canada, which we have forgot to list in the sources. So this particular provision, federation with strong center, has been taken from Canada, and I think residuary powers also has been taken from Canada. तो ऐड कर लेना पीछे जाके. Now what does this signify? See, थोड़ा सा बता देता हूँ मैं. There are two kind of phrases. The first one being separation of powers and division of powers. What is the difference between these two? This particular term, if you are using it in mains, so हमेशा यूज कीजिए between legislature, executive and judiciary. There should be separation of powers between these three organs. Understood? Division of powers मतलब center and states. So this is the difference between these two. If you are quoting separation of powers will be between the three pillars of our democracy: legislature, executive and judiciary. And in the division of powers, center plus all the states. So these are the separation powers and division of powers. Now see, federation. What is federal? It means the division of powers between center as well as states. So if you want to define division of power between center and states in one word, that is federal or federation. But this is a phrase, federation with strong center. So it means, is Indian dominion, not dominion, is Indian nation is federal? So our answer should be no, quasi federal. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. Yes, India is federal. So why there is a phrase written quasi federal in the Lakshmikant? See, these are of subjective discussions. Quasi federal is not any term. These have been propounded by different political thinkers. क्योंकि in India we have federation with strong center, so we can't call it federal structure. And what is federal structure? The federal structure has been defined by the Americans. क्यों? Because that is the first democracy. So ऐसा कोई ना होता है, अगर कोई एक वर्ड उन्होंने कॉइन कर दिया तो उन्हीं का फेडरेशन ट्रू फेडरेशन है ना? It doesn't seem right. So Indians are saying, भाई, why we will consider your federation as pure federation, your federal structure as pure federal structure? Indians are saying it to Americans. We have our own kind of federal structure. And what is this federal structure? We have federation with strong center. This is our federal structure, and this is the true federal structure. But these political thinkers are of the American soils, so they have coined new term, that is quasi federal, semi federal, semi federal, जो भी बोल लो आप. So if there is a line in the prelims that India is federal in character, it is absolutely correct statement. एक और लाइन बोलता हूँ मैं प्रीलिम्स के लिए. Indian Constitution defines India as a federal nation. It is correct or not? True or false? So absolutely it is false statement, because in our constitution there is no mention of this word federal. But Supreme Court has defined this particular word federal as basic part of our constitution. Now what is this basic part of our constitution? Basically, Parliament was adamant in amending all the provisions or most of the provisions of our constitution. So Supreme Court has put a leg in this case known as Keshwanand Bharti case of 1973, and the result of Keshwanand Bharti case was that Supreme Court interpreted constitution in such a way that constitution has some of the basic provisions which are known as basic structure doctrine, and there is other peripheral provisions. So these peripheral provisions can be amended by our parliament at its own will. But this basic structure, the basic essence of our constitution that our constitutional fathers has written in the constitution, that can't be amended or touched by the parliament. ठीक है. सो ये था थोड़ा बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्राइन. इंटर रिलेट आपको पहली बार में नहीं आएगा, बाद में आपको सब याद आते रहेगा. ठीक है. सो वी हैव फेडरेशन विद स्ट्रॉन्ग सेंटर. ये हम कैसे बोल सकते हैं कि हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फेडरल है? तो एक सब पार्ट लिख लीजिए, यहाँ सब पार्ट लिख लीजिए. इस सब पार्ट में हम ये प्रूव करेंगे दैट इंडिया is federal, and these are particularly the basic features of a nation being a federal nation. Division of powers. As we all know, Indian Constitution in Schedule 7 has listed 3 lists. The first one being the central list, the second one being the state list, and third is the concurrent list. So the division of powers has been done by our constitution कि भाई center you have the powers to amend the constitution in this particular subjects that have been mentioned in the central list. All the states you have power to amend your own laws on the subjects that have been written on the state list, and in the concurrent list both center as well as state has the power to amend those subjects. But addition में बता रहा हूँ अभी, if there is a law on which, if there is a subject on which the center has also made the law and the state has also made the law, so whose law will prevail? Yes, as that of centers. ठीक है. So first one is, as Indian Constitution imbibes in itself the division of powers in Schedule 7, which oozes out the three list, the center list, state list, as well as concurrent list. So that's why we can say that India is federal. Second is written constitution. Yes, it is mandatory that if a nation wants to declare itself federal, so it should have a written constitution. Why it should have a written constitution? See, our mind has a certain capacity to remember certain amount of provisions or statements. If we have written these provisions or laws or codified these laws in a particular book, so we don't have to remember. And also the tolerance level और जो error है वो बहुत कम हो जाएगा, that have been minimized. So India has codified its all laws in a single book known as Constitution. Now whenever there will be a breach of a provision or a law by a center or by a state, we can refer to this particular document and we can judge who is incorrect, either center or state. So that's why this written constitution is mandatory to deter the center or the states to extend their jurisdiction. So that is the purpose of the written constitution. And with written, it should also be a rigid constitution. Assuming that our Indian constitution is written, but the center has power under Article 368 to amend all the provisions of the constitution by itself. It doesn't have to confer with the state's ideas. So what will happen? Yes, again the same, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, predicament है ना, predicament. So in the same predicament, the which have been arised in the written constitution, the same thing will arrive in rigid constitution. कैसे? In written constitution, it has been written that center will not extend the jurisdiction in the state list, but center has all the power to amend the constitution. Center has amended this particular line only without the state's permission. So now the very value of the written constitution has been gone away, washed away. So that's why we also have a rigid constitutional feature. It means center at its own is not in a position to amend all the features of the constitution. It has to confer with the state's ideas also. So it is also the feature of federal. Independence of judiciary. We have written constitution, we have rigid constitution, and we have the division of powers. Suppose on one day center decided that it will circumvent the powers of the state government and it will amend the constitution or constitutional provisions by itself, so that it is extending its jurisdiction over the state subject also, the list too. So yes, it is written in constitution that center is not allowed to do this on its own, but the center has done it. So what will you do? To whom you will approach? That is why the judiciary come into the place. So independence of judiciary is very much important. And how can we assume that the judiciary is independent? The salaries of the judges, the transfer of the judges, the appointment of the judges. If all these powers are not resting with the executive, if all these powers are not resting with the executive, it means the judiciary is independent. Understood? And in the Indian case, these all powers are been resting in the hands of judiciary itself. That's why there is a debate going on the collegium system, on the efficacy of collegium system, that judiciary in India is the only institution that is guiding by its own principle. There is lack of transparency, or there is opacity in the procedure on which the judges have been chosen. In various instances, it has been found out that the relatives of the former judges have been appointing to the Supreme Court. तो ये तो उधर भी नेपोटिज्म हो गया, हम बॉलीवुड में क्यों देख रहे हैं, यहाँ भी देखिए। अंडरस्टूड। So this is independence of judiciary. So by these facts we can say that India is of federal character. But there is other side of the coin also, that is India unitary, or is India oozes out its unitary feature, because we have written that federation with strong center. So this strong center, what does it qualify for? So एक बार वो देख लेते हैं। These are the direct questions that have been asked in the mains exam. Discuss whether India is called a unitary nation. Discuss whether India is called a federal nation. Is India federal in character? Critically examine. So these are all the questions that have been previously asked in the mains exam, and ultimately we have to write mains. Prelims is a huge obstacle that we have to overcome, but prelims marks are of no importance in the making of our merit list. So main criteria is that of mains. Understood? मेंस में आपको अपने एक्सपीरियंस अगर थोड़ा सा बताऊं, प्रीलिम्स के लिए वी स्टडी अ लॉट, बट दैट स्टडी कैन बी एबल टू रेप्लिकेट इन द मेंस एग्जाम, और हाउ मच अ टॉपिक हैव टू बी स्टडीड, ये दो क्वेश्चन का जवाब अगर आपको चाहिए, इफ़ यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट द आंसर्स ऑफ दीज टू क्वेश्चंस, प्लीज टेक अ पीस ऑफ पेपर, ब्लैंक पीस ऑफ पेपर, take a pen and write 250 words, because first we have to know how much are the 250 words. The maximum marks, the maximum words that you have to write in an answer is 250. Minimum is 150, but the maximum is 250. So if you are doing PhD on any one particular topic, you are wasting your time. So first of all, take a blank piece of paper, take a pen and write this particular question: what are the different kinds of pollution, and elaborate on its solution. What are the various types of pollution, and elaborate on its solution. This you have to write in 250. For now maximum 300 words. ठीक है, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि 250 वर्ड्स कितने होते हैं. तो इन द होल 9 पेपर्स you have to write only maximum of 250 words on a single topic. तो आपके पास वास्ट नॉलेज है पोल्यूशन के ऊपर, बट आपको लिखना वो 250 वर्ड्स में ही है. सो दिस इज द आर्ट ऑफ मेंस आंसर राइटिंग. तो आप वो देख लेना एक बार. इंडिया बीइंग द यूनिटरी इन कैरेक्टर. These are some of the features that we can quote for defining India being unitary in nature. The first is governor. I think Article 155 is there. So, who is this governor? Primarily, it is the constitutional head of the state. But on the secondary issue, it is the agent of center. So, the central executive will appoint these governors to become the head of the states. This governor have to send a fortnight report to the executive that all the state machineries are working in consonance with the provisions of our constitution. So kind of this is मोहल्ले वाली आंटी for the center. जो भी आप कीड़े कर रहे हो स्टेट में, this मोहल्ले वाली आंटी will give report to the center. Understood? So kind of unitary for strong center. Understood? याद आते रहेंगे, लिखते रहूँगा। Article 312. Rajya Sabha has been entitled to this right to create number of all India services in interest of the nations. These all India services officers like IAS, IPS, Indian Forest Services. These three services are currently the all India services which has been created by the Parliament under Article 312. Understood? These all India services officers are trained and recruited by the center, but these are assigned the cadres for different states. So primarily they are working in the states itself, but these have been trained and recruited by the center. So this shows the unitary character of Indian Constitution. The three list that we have been talking in the federal character. तो फेडरेशन में हमने देखा डिवीजन ऑफ पावर, तो डिवीजन ऑफ पावर में वी हैव टू इलैबोरेट द थ्री लिस्ट विच आर गिवन, सेंटर, स्टेट, कॉन्करेंट. सो इन दीज थ्री लिस्ट मैक्सिमम और मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पावर और the subjects of utmost importance have been given in the center list. The peripheral subjects have been given in the state list. And that too in the concurrent list, if the state has a power to legislate on the concurrent subjects. But if there is a central law, the central law will prevail over the state subjects. Understood? So kind of dominance of central or center over the concurrent list also. Then comes a nomination in Rajya Sabha. See, we have bicameralism. मैंने बताया था in the first class. We have the upper house known as Rajya Sabha. We have lower house known as Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha represent the states. So Rajya Sabha has been made or constituted to represent the interest of the states. But in Rajya Sabha also we have 12 nominations that have been given in the hands of President of India on various special grounds. ठीक है, art, literature, science, social service. So these are the grounds. So in the interest, the body which is reflecting the interest of states, that is Rajya Sabha, itself has some nominated members which are nominated by the central executive. So this shows the strong center or unitary feature. Unlike American Constitution, in American Constitution there are particularly two kinds of constitution. The first for center, then another for each state. Judiciary also has been divided. The first is of state judiciary, Supreme Court of state, and then Supreme Court of the whole USA. This Supreme Court of whole USA has no jurisdiction over the Supreme Court of each and every state. Understood? So this is kind of separation of power between judiciaries. अमेरिका में it is purely federal. हर चीज़ सब अलग अलग है. On Indian scenario, we have a single integrated hierarchical organized judiciary. Integrated मतलब the judges of the district court will be appointed by the governor. These district court judges will be promoted to high court. These high court judges will be promoted to Supreme Court. So it is integrated in manner. Hierarchically organized. What does this mean? It means there is a chain of precedence. The utmost ladder will be occupied by Supreme Court of India. Then comes all the 24 high courts, 24 or 25 high courts, and then comes the lower courts, district courts. Understood? So this is hierarchy. One constitution, unlike America, which has constitution of center as well as constitution of every states. So on Indian scenario, we have only one constitution for center as well as states. जो कि एक यहाँ भी point आ जाएगा, Lendlease constitution में आ जाएगा. Lendlease constitution में क्या आ जाएगा पॉइंट? मैंने हिस्टोरिकल फैक्टर बताया था, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया खुद ही इतना बड़ा है. देन वी हैव जियोग्राफिकल फैक्टर दैट इंडिया अकोमोडेट्स लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ डाइवर्सिटी. Then comes we have a single constitution for center as well as state. So this is also part of Lendlease constitution. So single constitution है तो unitary in feature. Emergency provisions. We have three kinds of emergency: 352, 356, and 360. In Article 352, it is given the provisions for national emergency is given. तो national emergency की बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं that it will be proclaimed by our president. Then there are three grounds that have been given: war, external aggression, and armed rebellion. This armed rebellion phrase has been replaced. No, this not has been replaced. Previously there is a phrase internal rebellion. So internal rebellion को आर्म्ड रिबेलियन में कर दिया है. ठीक है, इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस था, इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस को रिप्लेस कर दिया आर्म्ड रिबेलियन को से इन 44th अमेंडमेंट एक्ट ऑफ 1978। आर्टिकल 19, एक पर्टिकुलर आर्टिकल है आर्टिकल 19, राइट टू फ्री स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन। So whenever there is a proclamation of national emergency by president on the grounds of external emergency, that is war and external aggression, Article 19 will be scrapped off automatically. Understood? अगर internal emergency है, that is armed rebellion पे, तो Article 19 में कुछ नहीं होगा। Article 20 and 21 will remain intact। अगर आप कोई भी emergency लगा दे 352, 356, 360, Article 20 and 21 will remain intact every time. Both houses of the parliament, the lower house and the upper house, has to approve this emergency within 1 month। ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद वो 6 months तक चलेगी एंड देन रिन्यूअल करना पड़ेगा। सो दीज आर ऑल द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द आवर नेशनल इमरजेंसी इन आर्टिकल 352 एंड इन 352 नेशनल इमरजेंसी the center have the concurrent jurisdiction over state subject also, so that's why it oozes out the unitary feature। Understood? थोड़ा सा और इमरजेंसी के बारे में बता देता हूँ, वैसे तो पूरा हमारा चैप्टर ही है। सेकंड इज द स्टेट इमरजेंसी बट द ऑफिशियल नेम इज प्रेसिडेंट्स रूल इन आर्टिकल 356। तो प्रेसिडेंट रूल्स की भी हमारे पास एक ग्राउंड दिया गया। व्हाट इज दैट ग्राउंड? ग्राउंड इज व्हेन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द स्टेट मशीनरी इज नॉट वर्किंग ऑन द प्रोविजंस ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। ठीक है, सो ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मशीनरी इन स्टेट्स, दिस इज द ग्राउंड फॉर द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट रूल। देन लास्ट इज फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी, आर्टिकल 360। सो whenever there is a threat to the financial stability or credit of India, financial emergency has to be announced or implemented by the President of India. This financial emergency has never come into effect since our independence। 352 नेशनल इमरजेंसी 3 बार लग चुकी है, स्टेट इमरजेंसी प्रेसिडेंट रूल लगता रहता है, 360 अभी तक यूज़ किया नहीं गया। आर्टिकल 248 assumes the residuary powers and residuary powers has been assigned to the center, मतलब पार्लियामेंट के पास है। What are these residuary powers? See, there are certain subjects which can evolve in the future like alien invasion, space warfare. So these kind of subjects have not been contemplated as well as written in the 3 list of the our constitution, है ना। शेड्यूल 7 में 3 लिस्ट है, तो उनमें से किसी में भी लिखा नहीं गया था ये। तो क्या हुआ, एक प्रोविजन बना दिया गया रेसिडुअरी पावर्स। द सब्जेक्ट्स विच आर नॉट रिटर्न इन द 3 लिस्ट ऑफ शेड्यूल 7, ऑन पर्टिकुलर दो सब्जेक्ट्स द सेंटर हैज द पावर to regulate them and make laws on them. These are known as residuary powers. So किसके पास है? पार्लियामेंट के पास है। पहले किसके पास थी इन ब्रिटेन टाइम? हाँ जी, वाइसरॉय के पास थी ये सब। कैग, कॉम्प्ट्रोलर नॉट कंट्रोलर, कॉम्प्ट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया। So this is basically a public official, central public official which used to audit different kind of firms. Now how this oozes out unitary character? This CAG can audit the central PSUs also, the state PSUs also। ठीक है, so जो भी state की corporations है, the CAG has the authority to audit them। ECI, Election Commission of India, आर्टिकल 324 से 329 आई थिंक, 324 तो आई एम श्योर, 329 तक आई थिंक। सो इन इंडिया Election Commission of India is regulating and making laws on elections for center as well as states. So on states also the regulating body is Election Commission of India, hence a single body is conducting the elections of center as well as states. So this is also oozing out the unitary feature. So these are number of things that you can write if there is a mains examination, but mind you, in the previous PYQ, in the PYQ prelims, I think 2020 का पेपर था या 2021 का, उसमें पूछ लिया था प्रीलिम्स में ही कि विच ऑफ दीज आर फेडरल करेक्टर। तो उन फेडरल करेक्टर को ही उन्हें ABC में दे दिया था और नीचे 1 2 3 2 3 4 वाला दे दिया था। तो it is of utmost importance for prelims as well. सो सेलेंट फीचर्स में हम बहुत कुछ लिख सकते हैं. अभी मैंने ये बता दिया, फेडरेशन विद स्ट्रॉन्ग सेंटर. अच्छा, एक और चीज़ मैं यहीं बता देता हूँ, ये हम कल कंटिन्यू कर लेंगे. यहाँ आप लिख लीजिए फंडामेंटल राइट्स, DPSP. इनके बारे में थोड़ा बता देता हूँ. फंडामेंटल राइट्स आर एनश्राइंड इन पार्ट 3 ऑफ आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. दीज आर जस्टिशिएबल इन नेचर. इट मीन्स यू कैन डायरेक्टली अप्रोच टू सुप्रीम कोर्ट इफ देर इज वायलेशन ऑफ योर फंडामेंटल राइट्स. DPSP have been enshrined in part 4 of our constitution. These are non-justiciable in nature. It means you cannot approach Supreme Court that there is a violation of a DPSP. What are these DPSP? I have told you in the previous class. These are modified kind of instrument of instructions that have been given in Government of India Act of 1935 to the governor, to the viceroy. Understood? और ये मतलब ये कहाँ लिखा है कि दीज आर नॉन जस्टिशिएबल? एक आर्टिकल ही है ये, आई थिंक 37 है, तो उसी में खुद ही लिखा हुआ है कि दीज आर नॉन जस्टिशिएबल करेक्टर. तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा हुआ है. देन वी हैव फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज ऑल्सो, डेट इज पार्ट 4A. 4A में दी गई हुई है. पार्ट 4A में फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज आर ओनली फॉर सिटीजन्स. दे आर नॉन जस्टिशिएबल. दे हैव बीन रिकमेंडेड बाय सरदार स्वर्ण सिंह कमेटी. एक प्रीलिम्स की स्टेटमेंट देखिए. ऑल फंडामेंटल राइट्स have been instilled in our constitution by 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Is this correct or not? जाके भी देख लेना, मैं बता देता हूँ. Only 10 fundamental rights have been instilled in our constitution initially, and the 86th Amendment Act, one more fundamental right has been instilled. So currently we have 11 fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are for citizens. Article 51A, Part 4A. In fundamental rights, we have from article कितना सा था? 12 से था, 13 से था? आई थिंक 12 से ही था. 12 से लिख लीजिए 35 तक. देख लेंगे बाद में क्या दिक्कत है, पूरा चैप्टर का चैप्टर है. Now the main cheese I am trying to tell, I have told you we have a blend of rigidity and flexibility. Also in the federal character we have written that for a nation to be federal there are two things. मैं भी two things के ऊपर ही emphasis कर रहा हूँ, written as well as rigid constitution. In the rigid constitution I have told you that center doesn't have the capacity to amend all the provisions of constitution by itself. It has to take consideration of states' will also. So what are these 5 things where center and state has to collaborate? वो लिख लीजिए. So these are all the things, all the provisions where center and state have to coordinate to amend these provisions. The first is election of president. I think article 54 and 55 है, एक बार जाके देख लेना. But to amend the article 54 and 55, center and state both have to coordinate. इसका मतलब article 368 special majority plus more than 50% majority of states. तो वो वाली हमको majority चाहिए. The second is extent of administrative power of center as well as extent of administrative power of state. It means either of them doesn't have the capacity to amend the constitution by itself. Both have to shake hands to amend these provisions. third is Supreme Court. I think chapter 4 of part 5 is Supreme Court. Then chapter 5 of part 6 is High Courts. So in all these, center and state has to coordinate. Then allocation of seat in Rajya Sabha, I think schedule 4. So schedule 4 denotes the allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha, तो हमको वो भी देखनी है. इसमें भी दोनों को कोऑर्डिनेट करना पड़ेगा. एंड द लास्टली आर्टिकल 368 itself, and all these things have been given in 368 only, क्योंकि मैंने बोला सेंटर एंड स्टेट हैज़ टू कोऑर्डिनेट. अंडर आर्टिकल 368 ऑल दिस प्रोविजंस हैव बीन गिवन. आर्टिकल 368 itself अगर आपको अमेंड करना है तो भी आपको दोनों की रजामंदी चाहिए. ठीक है. एक लास्ट बात, उसके बाद हम ये कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे. दीज आर ऑल द सब टॉपिक्स. ठीक है, ये तो हमारा चल ही रहा है. दीज आर ऑल द सब टॉपिक्स, और ये माइंड यू दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिगार्डिंग योर प्रीलिम्स एज वेल एज मेंस, बिकॉज दीज आर ऑल द कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. रेक्टिफिकेशन तो इसका करना ही करना है, बट कंसेप्चुअली दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वन लास्ट थिंग, I have told you 3 list, and in the unitary feature I have told you, वो यूनिटरी फीचर में मैंने आपको बताया नहीं, पर एक और चीज़ है यूनिटरी फीचर में. मैंने बताया था कि 3 लिस्ट है, एंड अट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट हैव बीन गिवन इन सेंटर्स लिस्ट. एक और चीज़ है, कॉन्करेंट में भी मैंने बताया था कि सेंटर का डोमिनेंस है. एक बात सुनिए, स्टेट में भी सम ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट्स और सम ऑफ द व्हाट कैन आई से incidents or exigencies are there where center can dominate the state list also. ठीक है, तो लिख लीजिए, सेंटर इंटरफियरिंग इन स्टेट्स. These are the 5 articles in which center has the right to interfere in states list. 249, if Rajya Sabha is satisfied that it is in the interest of nation that parliament will legislate on specific state subject, then the parliament has the authority to legislate on this particular specific state subject. बट दिस लेजिस्लेशन विल बी ऑफ ड्यूरेशन ऑफ 1 ईयर, और 1 ईयर के बाद वापस रिन्यू करके आप कितने भी ईयर चला सकते हो. क्या क्या मेन पॉइंट है? ओनली राज्यसभा हैज़ दिस अथॉरिटी. द सेटिस्फैक्शन ऑफ राज्यसभा दैट इट इज़ इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ नेशन फॉर द पार्लियामेंट टू लेजिस्लेट ऑन द स्पेसिफिक स्टेट सब्जेक्ट. दिस लेजिस्लेशन विल एक्सटेंड अप टू 1 ईयर, आफ्टर विच इट विल गो और अंडर इट विल गो अगेन ऑन द प्रोसेस ऑफ रिन्यूअल, और उसके बाद वो कितने भी एक्सटेंड तक रिन्यू हो सकती है. 350 टॉक्स अबाउट नेशनल इमरजेंसी. आई हैव टोल्ड यू इन द केस ऑफ 352, आर्टिकल 352. ये 350 आर्टिकल, बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स होते हैं इमरजेंसीज के, तो 352 में है प्रोक्लेमेशन ऑफ नेशनल इमरजेंसी. उसी का एक सब पार्ट है 350. इसमें क्या लिखा है? ड्यूरिंग नेशनल इमरजेंसी सेंटर एक्वायर्स द कॉन्करेंट लेजिस्लेशन ऑफ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट्स ऑल्सो. सो ठीक है. 252, 2 or more states approached parliament and gave their authority to the parliament that please legislate on this particular subject. Then parliament assumes authority on that subject. But एक दिक्कत है. क्या दिक्कत है? These states are approaching the parliament by themselves on their own will and discretion. But once the authority to legislate has been transferred to parliament, then first thing, these states, 2 or more states, can't make laws on that particular subject. Why? Because they have transferred the authority on their own by their own discretion to the parliament. ठीक है. एंड सेकेंड ऑफ ऑल, तुम आए तो अपनी मर्जी से थे, बट पार्लियामेंट जाएगी अपनी मर्जी से. इसका मतलब स्टेट्स ने तो बोल दिया कि आप इस पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट पे लेजिस्लेट कर लो, बट अब पार्लियामेंट क्या बोलेगा 1 साल बाद? स्टेट बोलेगा अब ठीक है, अब हमें संभाल सकते हैं सिचुएशन, अब आप जा सकते हैं। पार्लियामेंट बोलेगा ऐसे कैसे भाई, बुलाया तुमने था पर जाऊंगा अपनी मर्जी से, मेहमान वाले, ठीक है, मेहमान वाली नौटंकी करेगा। तो समझ जाओ आप। 253, if the center wants to implement any international treaties, it can refer to state's opinion, it can reject the state's opinion. It means state has no say in the implementation of international treaties on Indian soils. Center assumes all the powers of implementation of international treaties. Lastly, Article 356, that is the President's rule. Under the President's rule, most probably the state legislature will be dismissed, dissolved, and the Parliament assumes the authority to legislate for that particular state. These are the cases where center can interfere in states list. तो एक जगह हम फेडरल में बता रहे कि भाई देखो डिवीजन ऑफ पावर्स है, Schedule 7 हैज़ डिवाइडेड सब्जेक्ट्स इनटू 3 लिस्ट, इट मीन्स इंडिया इज फेडरल इन कैरेक्टर. But by looking closely, by looking with the magnifying glass, we can able to relate that Schedule 7, it is itself heavily biased towards center, hence federation with strong center. So आज की क्लास यहीं रखते हैं, बहुत बड़ी क्लास हो गई, गला भी सूख रहा है बहुत, छोटी छोटी क्लास में पढ़ेंगे. टुमारो वी विल कंटिन्यू पर्टिकुलर दिस टॉपिक, 7 फीचर्स ऑफ इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. वी हैव रिटन 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5th. So 5 points we have written. The next points will be coming up in the next session. Till then, stay tuned. If you are liking this content, please like the video, share it with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube channel. तब तक के लिए goodbye. जय हिंद.